So I bought this sweater here and I freaking love it. Sweater season is coming up. I'm pretty hyped. Only thing is though, where I live, it's still 80 to 90 degrees. So I'm gonna wear it for my video. And I have no idea if this is actually gonna work. So let's see. Pokemon Sword and Shield is releasing real soon, and a lot of people are still very upset about how the game looks, despite Game Freak and the Pokemon games being very safe and unambitious in going all out. People so desperately want these games to be the Breath of the Wild of the Pokemon franchise, and while I can understand that, it's simply not the Game Freak way, or the Pokemon Company way. I mean, for peak's sake, Ash won the Pokemon League, but yet here he is going and doing something else in a brand new anime. And geez, I do remember something about hearing that if Ash or Satoshi was to win the Pokemon League, then the game then the anime would be over. But here we are with Satoshi or Ash. There are still a lot of people upset about the National Dex missing from the game, and now gym leaders are now exclusive to certain games as well, depending on which entry you choose. Pokemon Sword and Shield is turning out to be a pretty controversial game, I think. I can't think back to a time that people have been this up in arms about the franchise. So it kinda got me thinking, what could Game Freak do to make people happy? I mean, since it's been months since the announcement of the National Dex missing from the game, and they really seem insistent on not including it. I understand that it's a feature that a lot of people want, but it seems like a feature that is too much for Game Freak to want to deal with, and well, I think that I have a solution for all of you. And it's pretty simple, I think. You see, go back to 2D games. What? Yes, go back to 2D games. I think that most people will agree that the peak of Pokemon games was during Generation 5 when the sprite work was at its best. When people found out that we were going to 3D, a lot of people were sad, really sad, and to just imagine that we were never going to go back to sprites. And I can agree. Some time ago, I seen this images on Twitter of what the Alola trainers would look like in 2D sprites, and I love it. I think it looks fantastic. If I could find it for this video, I'm gonna include it here. Apart from the story being so engaging and getting people to ask them philosophical questions about the morality of raising pets to do battle, the game's 2D pixel art looks gorgeous. I went back not too long ago to play Pokemon White 2, and it still blows my mind how these games look. And not to mention the seasons. Oh man, I missed the seasons. Because it had been so long since I touched White 2, within an instant, I just seen 3 seasons pass me by. It was unbelievable. Traversing the environments in these games feels so good. I can't help but feel nostalgic for this era of Pokemon games. The thing is though, that it seems that Game Freak and Pokemon just never got the 3D on point. I have a copy of Dragon Quest VII in my 3DS, which I believe is the first 3DS Dragon Quest game, and it has full 3D camera, allowing players to explore any direction on the map that they want rather than being locked to an angle. Something that Nintendo made sure to tell us during one of the Sword and Shield directs, meaning that it's a function that is barely being included in the games now. Something that Dragon Quest got on their first go on the 3DS. But even if we want to ignore that for a sec, a lot of people do agree that the Gen 5 games are solid all around, right? Well, enough time has passed since the release of Gen 6, and while I still have warm feelings of nostalgia for those games, they're not games that a lot of people hold in high regard. I think the case being that Game Freak putting so much focus into creating the National Dex in 3D models and creating 3D spaces for their new game that the writing was left largely on the wayside. I can only imagine that the reason that the National Dex is being left out is due to them wanting to produce a fun experience with what they already have. To some, myself included, is an engaging story. But I think that we can still get that in 2D game. I would love to see Kalos, Alola, and Galar in a 2D setting. People think that the writing is on the wall from the mainline entry since the Pokemon Masters seem to be a success, but I haven't touched it since it's released. Even if it's the case, which I don't necessarily think it is, the 2D games can keep them going. Why? Well, because the 2D games are amazing and they're clearly very good at it. Creating a National Dex and 2D sprites can't be nearly as exhaustive as it is to create full 3D models for an entire library of Pokemon, right? Right? I don't think that this would actually ever happen, but I would love to see these games return to 2D. And that's all I really mean to say. Let me know if you agree. Rate, comment, and subscribe. What's your favorite Pokemon game? What do you think of the 3D games? What do you think of the 2D games? What is your favorite Pokemon generation? Mine is, it's between 2 and 5, really. And check out my other Pokemon games on the playlist. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, cha.